Joining me now is Congresswoman Sydney Kamlager-Dove, Democrat of California. Thank you for joining us, Congresswoman. We began tonight with the demonstrations on our college campuses, including Los Angeles. We mentioned the clearing of the University of Southern California's campus this morning, which was carried out without incident by LAPD. What are you hearing about how the situation was handled? Many of us, certainly I support the students' protest, but say no violence. How are you hearing how it's being handled?
Well, thank you for having me on. We certainly have been monitoring the situation at USC as well as at UCLA. I will say for a while, the information coming out has been murky, distressing, and disjointed. What we know for sure is that campuses should be safe places for students to learn and debate and also exercise freedom of speech. They also have to be spaces that are free from discrimination against race, color, creed, national origin. I certainly cannot speak to the specifics about every school situation, but I do know at USC, the encampments have dispersed, protests have dwindled as they are preparing for commencement exercises for next week, and the university has put up a free speech zone so that all protesting groups have the same opportunity to express themselves in the same spot. And I think that's what's so important about Title VI of the Civil Rights Act, which is how you should be even and neutral in how you allow students to debate, to lawfully and peacefully demonstrate, and to exchange ideas.
Now, you mentioned UCLA. We're learning this afternoon that UCLA will return to regular operations tomorrow. The New York Times analyzed hours of footage from violent clashes on their campus last week. They say the video showed counter-protesters attacking students in a pro-Palestinian encampment for hours using sticks, chemical sprays, and fireworks with little or no police intervention. As of Friday, no arrests have been made in connection with the attacks. Are you confident that law enforcement is doing enough to de-escalate these demonstrations and protect everyone on all sides of the violence? Because these were the counter-protesters that was against the Palestinians that made these attacks.
Well, I believe that law enforcement should be the last resort, and rules of engagement are incredibly important when you are talking about protests, what the administration should be clear about, what protesters should be clear about. And protesters, the student protesters, should also be very vocal about outside agitators and those that are participating in the nonviolent student movement. I know that UCLA has come under fire about the uneven application of Title VI and calling in law enforcement. I know they have just announced that they are going to be starting up an office of, I think, public safety or community safety to help address this on a go-forward basis. There's always going to be tension between the First Amendment and expressing your right to demonstrate and have dissent. But at the end of the day, the property must not be vandalized and students should not be violated. And so UCLA will continue to have to answer these questions because the images that we saw were deeply concerning. And there's been information that's come out that hasn't really answered the questions that many of us have been asking.
Now, switching gears, today marks 6 months until Election Day. And in the presidential race, a new poll from ABC Ipsos of all American adults shows Trump leading Biden by 2 points within the margin of error. However, when you look just at likely voters, the same poll finds Biden ahead by 4 points. What are your thoughts with the election just half a year away?
Well, I like to remind people that polls are not voters, and it is so important that we continue to talk to the voters in our district. And I'm also going to continue to say we have to show the receipts. You know, the Biden administration has been, I think, very forceful in carrying out the platform that he ran on in 2020. He has helped to cut child poverty in half. He has given $160 billion in debt forgiveness to, I think, over 4.5 million borrowers. He is just talking about looking at the marijuana Schedule I classification. He has pardoned thousands of folks who've been convicted for marijuana possessions. He has been headstrong when it comes to making sure that we have a very robust economy. He has been very intentional about making sure that we are appointing, a very diverse group of judges to the bench, and he has been leading the way when it comes to climate change. So we have to continue to talk about those things because those are the things that voters in my district care about.
Now, the Biden campaign team is leaning heavily on abortion as a galvanizing issue. It hopes it will drive turnout in November. The campaign's latest ad touts the president as a defender of reproductive rights, while warning of further restrictions if Trump wins in November. Now, the black women facing disproportionately risks from childbirth and many living in states with strict bans. Do you see the campaign's message working as it is intended to?
Yes, I do. And we need to continue to talk about this issue. I represent constituents in Los Angeles. You know, in California, we are continuing to see the pressure put on our state because of Texas and Arizona. Now, 1 in 3 women live in a state that has some kind of restriction on abortion care and reproductive health access. You know, because of Trump and the Republicans, we are now criminalizing patients, providers, those that are trying to help patients seek out abortion care. We are now attacking IVF and fertility treatments. And these are also values that are being upheld by this speaker. So we have to continue to talk about what is at stake. We started off talking about school campuses, and there are a lot of young women that are deciding where they can go to school based on the abortion bans that are now popping up across the state. So over 80% of American voters support access to abortion care, and we have to continue to talk about it because if Trump is reelected, we will most likely see a national abortion ban.